Assalamualaikum class. I'm in public school and college Khanimal. This is your class 10th and subject is biology. It's your chapter number 12, coordination and control, and the topic that we are going to discuss about is the central nervous system, brain and its division. Okay, let's start with the brain. That is the first part of the central nervous system, and the next part is this is the first part of the central nervous system, the brain. Here you can see the structure where the brain is packed. Inside is the brain. This is the outermost structure. You can say this is the structure of the skull. Like in animals, all life activities are under the control of brain. The structure of brain is suitable to perform this function. Where brain is situated? Inside a bony cranium. You can feel it in your skull region. You can feel that your brain is inside a bony skeleton that are totally immovable bones. If you see the inside of cranium, brain is covered by 3 layers. This is the skull, the bones, right? This is the part of the skull that is made up of bones. After that, here are the 3 layers. This is the first one, second one, and the third one, which is covering the brain. This is the part of the brain, and these are the layers that are covering it. And there are 3 numbers. So you can say that these 3 are the meninges. All life activities are under control of brain. Fine. The brain is present in bony cranium. So this is the bony cranium, this region. Inside of bony cranium, there are 3 meninges. These are the layers. The meninges are the layers. Next to them are the cerebrospinal fluid. Fluid within ventricles and central canal is called the cerebrospinal fluid, which is present inside the cerebellum. So this is the structure of the brain, where the brain is located. After that, now here from this point, brain is starting, and we are going to see the further division of brains. Okay, so let's come towards the division of brain. We have divided brain into 3 parts, the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. The first one is the forebrain part. What its function: processes sensory information, helps with reasoning and problem solving, and regulates autonomic, endocrine, and motor functions. So these all are the functions for the forebrain. Next is the midbrain, that is present in the mid of the forebrain. Helps to regulate movement and process auditory and visual information. Next to it is the hindbrain, the third part. Help to regulate autonomic functions, relay sensory information, coordinate movement, and maintain balance and equilibrium. So let's see the first part, that is forebrain, its division and the function of each division. Okay, let's see, this is the forebrain, the first part. This region is of forebrain, fine. So you can see this is the forebrain. First part is the cerebrum. This is the cerebrum. This is the third part. If we started from here, this is the hypothalamus, this part, which is present in forebrain. Thalamus, this part, which is also present in forebrain. And the third one is the cerebrum, this region, this whole region. This is also the part of forebrain. So basically, forebrain is divided into 3 parts: cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Next are the further divisions. We will see them later, but our first discussion will be about these 3 parts: the thalamus, hypothalamus, and cerebrum. Let's start with the forebrain, thalamus, and hypothalamus. The first part is thalamus, this one, right? And what its function? Thalamus lays just below cerebrum. You can see from this picture, fine. This is the thalamus part, right? This one is that. And you can see that it just lays below the cerebrum. This is the cerebrum and it is below of cerebrum. This is thalamus. It serves as a relay center between various parts of brain and spinal cord. It also receives and modifies sensory impulses, except from nose. Except nose, all the sensory informations are coming towards this part of the brain. This is handling the all sensory information, right? Thalamus is also involved in pain perception, like if you are feeling pain in your body and your brain feels that pain. Yes, if I am pressing some pain in your skin, you feel pain. This sensory information in your brain is interpreted by this part, that is the thalamus. Fine. So you can say that thalamus is involved in pain perception and consciousness. Either you want to sleep or you are awaking. These functions are controlled by thalamus part of forebrain in your brain. Clear? First of all, you're
Yes, ma'am.
yes. First of all, you're supposed to tell its position, its location, that is, it is present just beneath this cerebrum, and its function is that it is responsible for sensory impulses to accept. Thalamus is also involved in pain perception and consciousness, just like sleep and awakening. Next to it is the hypothalamus. You can see this one structure here. This is the region of hypothalamus. Leaves above midbrain. This is leaves above from this after right after this part. You can see this is a midbrain part. So you can say leaves above the, this is above the midbrain and just below the thalamus. Is it so? Yes, it is. In human, it is roughly the size of an almond, and you can see this is very small in size. This region is very small in size, and it's the size of an almond. One of the most important functions of hypothalamus is to link nervous system and endocrine system. Do you remember the chemical coordination? Here, it is also giving that link. It is very important for endocrine system. It controls the secretion of pituitary glands. As you can see here, that within this hypothalamus, this region, these glands are present, which are responsible for the chemical coordination in your body. Physical coordination in your body, for that purpose, the brain is responsible. And for the chemical coordination, the pituitary glands are responsible, which are present within this hypothalamus. So you can say that hypothalamus is to link nervous system and endocrine system. It controls the secretion of pituitary gland. It also controls feelings. Now, what is the function, basic function of hypothalamus? That it is responsible for the feelings such as rage, pain, pleasure, and sorrow. If you are feeling any one of them, like this time, I hope you are feeling pleasure while attending my lesson. So this perception is also received by your hypothalamus. Clear? Say yes if it is, so I could move ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's
ma'am,
clear.
it is clear.
Okay. Next to it is the, after the thalamus and hypothalamus, let's have a view of cerebrum. So what is cerebrum? You can say that it is the largest part of the brain. Not of the brain, but of the forebrain. It controls skeletal muscles like the movement. Skeletal muscles are responsible for the movement, thinking, intelligence, and your emotions. These all perceptions, for this purpose, cerebrum is responsible. Fine. It is divided into two cerebral hemispheres. Maybe I have the picture next. No, it's not there. Okay. If this is the cerebrum, we have divided into two parts. The one is the cerebral hemisphere. The anterior part of the cerebral hemisphere are called the olfactory bulbs. Okay, it is further having the parts. If I am saying that it is two hemisphere, one is the cerebral hemisphere. It has olfactory bulbs. Olfactory, what comes to your mind while listening this term olfactory? Smell, nose. These things must come to your mind with this terminology, olfactory bulb. Olfaction means to smell something, right? So olfactory bulbs which receives impulses from olfactory nerves and create sensation of smell. So you can say cerebral hemisphere anterior part, it is divided into two parts, right? The anterior part is responsible for the olfactory bulb, which is having the sensation of smell. The upper layer of cerebral hemisphere, cerebral cortex. Okay, let me show you this diagram. This is the cerebral cortex because this whole region is of the cerebrum. We have divided it into two parts. One is the cerebral hemisphere that is having the olfactory bulb. Next is the upper layer is known as the cerebral cortex, just like this. Consists of gray matter. It is having two things not mentioned here, but it is having the gray matter. The gray matter of nervous system consists of cell bodies, non-myelinated axons. Do you remember the nerve structure, the axons, myelinated sheath? These all are present here. It says that these are the neurons that are giving message towards, bring message towards the brain. So you can say that this is the gray matter of nervous system consists of cell bodies and non-myelinated axons. Beneath this layer, present white matter of nervous system consists of myelinated axons. So myelinated and non-myelinated axons are present here in the form of gray matter and white matter. Cerebral cortex has a large surface area. If we see the cerebral cortex, that it is also responsible for few functions, we have divided it into four parts. Its division you can see here. Cerebrum, the largest, we have divided the cerebrum into four parts. You can see different colors. This is the yellow one, frontal lobe. This is the blue one, parietal lobe. This is the third one, temporal lobe. And this one is the occipital lobe. These are the different four parts of the cerebrum which are having their different functions. So see them with their functions one by one. Frontal lobe controls motor function or associated with reasoning, planning, parts of speech, movement, emotions, and problem solving. Or you can say it is responsible or conscious control of skeletal muscles, coordinates movements involved in speech, what you are speaking, what you are feeling, what your movements, all these things are also controlled by this part of the cerebrum, that is the frontal lobe. Okay, in my class, how many participants are here? Let's have Saria with this name. We are giving Saria this name, the frontal lobe. And this frontal lobe of your brain is responsible for conscious control of skeletal muscles and coordinate movements involved in speech. So basically, Saria is giving two functions that I described here. Now everybody is supposed to remember Saria with these two functions, and that is the frontal lobe. The next is the parietal lobe, and for this purpose, I would like to name parietal lobe to Abdul Manan. What is the function of this parietal lobe? It contains sensory areas that receive impulses from the skin. So impulses from the skin can be in the form of touch, pressure, and temperature. So parietal lobes feel any sensation from the skin, right? Important for understanding spatial orientation, movement, coordination, information processing, and more. These all are the functions of the parietal lobe. And who is parietal lobe in your class? This is Abdul Manan. So everybody will remember Abdul Manan with this name parietal lobe, and he is responsible to perform, to receive impulses from the skin. Next is the temporal lobe, the third one lobe. And for this, I think who else is participating in the class? Iza. We give her the name temporal lobe associated with perception and recognition of auditory. It's mean hearing, stimuli, memory, and speech. So temporal is Iza, and she is concerned with hearing and smell. So everyone participants remember Iza with these two functions. She is temporal lobe. Next to it is the occipital lobe. Occipital, visual information. And who is responsible for this occipital lobe? Abdul Ahad. responsible for vision. So these are the certain functions which are received or performed by these 4 different lobes of the cerebrum. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Good. Good response from your side. Next to it is the midbrain, because it is starting from here, this point, the midbrain. Let's see what is the function of the midbrain. This is the middle part, lies between the hindbrain and forebrain. You can say that this is present in between the hind and forebrain and connects the two. It receives sensory information simply right after the spinal cord. You can see the spinal cord is present along with the lungs, and you have seen the peripheral nervous system, that from if you are having any neurons that are receiving messages from the hand region, legs region, all are moving towards this spinal cord. All information will move towards this part, right? From spinal cord it goes towards the hindbrain, and from hindbrain it goes towards the midbrain, and from midbrain it is sending towards the forebrain, where different perceptions can be detected by the brain. Is it happening so? Yes. So you can say that it receives sensory information. The midbrain's function is to receive sensory information and send appropriate part of the brain. If it is responsible with thalamus or hypothalamus or with cerebrum, then this midbrain is responsible to send that nerve impulse towards the relevant part, right? Midbrain also controls some auditory reflexes and postures. Beside this, auditory reflexes and postures, for this purpose the midbrain is responsible. Next to it is the hindbrain, that is having these 3 parts: pons, medulla oblongata and cerebrum. This is the purple part, this is the pons part. Right after the pons, you can see here this one, medulla oblongata. Right after medulla oblongata, this is the cerebellum. Okay, please don't mix these two terms or 2 parts. Cerebrum is a part of, this is the cerebrum, it is a part of forebrain, while the cerebellum is a part of the hindbrain. This is the 3rd part of the hindbrain. Fine. Let me explain them one by one. Medulla oblongata, let's start with this one point. Fine. This is the part of hindbrain, medulla oblongata. Lies on the top of spinal cord. You can see here is the spinal cord, right? This is the stem part from where the spinal cord originates. So you can say that medulla oblongata is present just above the spinal cord. It controls breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure in your body. So such perceptions are controlled by this part, medulla oblongata. It also controls many reflexes such as vomiting, coughing, sneezing. Information that passes between spinal cords, the rest of brain pass through the medulla. So here were the few functions of medulla oblongata. Next are cerebrum. The cerebrum part, this one, is behind medulla. You can see that it is present behind the medulla. This region is of medulla oblongata, right? You have seen it. Its function is also discussed. And just behind it, this is the cerebellum, right? It coordinates muscles movement. It is responsible for the muscles movement in your body. If you are walking, you are moving your hands, you are walking with your legs, all the muscles are in movement. So this is done with the help of this cerebellum. Next it is the pons. Here the pons, the purple color which is present above the medulla oblongata on the top of the medulla. It assists medulla in controlled breathing. It also serves as connection between cerebellum and spinal cord. So you can see that it is present between the spinal cord and cerebellum. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are having any question, please ask.